Okay.
How perceptive are you? Isn't that cool?
Right? Yeah. See?
That you picked up on that.
I did. Brent, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Nice. You got me?
Like really, really good.
You got me?
Keep making that noise. It's really cool.
Brent, you know, a lot of people will like tap a mic when they're at like a sound check. They'll like to is this thing on? It's like the worst thing for the microphone to tap.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah, because like you just put like a blast of sound into it.
The obligatory feedback is also not good.
Yeah, that's right.
Check 1 2, check 1 2 5 times.
Yeah, my favorite
always makes me laugh.
My favorite is ice, icicle, bike, bicycle, test, testing.
So, let's not delay any longer. I'm very excited to talk about this record. This is one of my favorite albums.
Amorica by the Black Croats.
Indeedy. Now, let me remind you of something. Remember a little while ago, I can't remember the specific episode, but I made a Black Crowes reference. The Crows would play songs that were 305.
Counting Crows?
No. The Black Crows. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just wanted to make sure I picked the right crows.
The black ones.
Okay. Haven't listened to them.
Oh, yeah, you've never heard of the Black Crows? Now you know.
Yeah. Yes, I do. Absolutely. So tell me about this album and the influence it had on you as a young Jensen.
A big one. So I was 24, maybe 25 when this came out. And it was just like, this is the Black Crowes at the height of their powers. So you can hear the thing that makes this album special for me is, last week we talked about their first record, Shake Your Moneymaker. Fantastic record, but it's Faces, it's Stones, it's a little bit of Aerosmith, some Zeppelin, right? It's linear. And in a good way, it's limited. This album is absolutely unlimited, and yet it carries the same kind of hallmarks of that time, right? So it's not just Chris Robinson's voice and guitars. There's piano. There's all kinds of fantastic instrumentation. There's Latino percussion. There's, it's so much more broad, and it's just really, it's the Black Crowes doing something else. It's a big, big record. And you go through the catalog, I own every record that they have or that they put out. And this is, in my opinion, the Zenith is the best one.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah. So let's go through the tunes.
All right. We can go through the tunes.
Go ahead though. What were you going to say?
No, I was just kind of curious, what do you do? Does there something about this album or about a song on this album that sticks out to you as like a moment in your life that like you could attribute to like the Black Crowes being like a song on this album being like a seminal moment in your life and anything like that?
That's a good question. There is a song and it's called Wiser Time. And I think it's like, what is it? Like
9.
It's not the 9th, but it's like,
it
no,
is.
It's not. It's like the third last. It's the third last. No, it's not. Descending is the last.
There's 11 songs. I'm looking at it. 11 songs. Wiser Time is number 9.
Oh, it's okay. Well, it's not the second last song though. The second last song on the album most times is the 9th song. Because typically there were 10 songs on the record.
Oh, so now you're going back on what the actual definition of number 9 is? Okay.
It shouldn't have, and we shouldn't have ever said number 9. Anyway, it's the third last song.
Okay.
And Downtown Money Waster actually is the second last song. We're going to talk about that because it's actually, you can make a case for this being the second, and I'll explain all of that.
Okay.
I'm very familiar with this record and I have a lot to say about it. So,
okay. Wiser Time. Hold on. Tell me about Wiser Time first, because I've been interrupting you.
So Wiser Time, when you experience songs and they kind of come to you and I mean, this is one of the coolest things about music, but you put yourself inside them. You can kind of almost immerse yourself in them, like they become that much, they become self-representational almost. You imagine that they represent you, or they represent the situation that you're in, because you want that to be the case. Obviously it doesn't, but Wiser Time, there's a great line in that goes, 14 seconds till sunrise, tired but wiser for the time. If you remember that. Probably not, because you probably only listened to it once or twice. But I remember, hearing that, and that was the time in my life when I was staying up all night until the sun came up with my buddies, drinking and doing, all the things that you do when you're in your early 20s. And I just thought, like, I completely get what Chris Robinson is saying right there. I probably shouldn't be awake right now, but I'm wiser for this time. It's going to stick with me. And it has. And I listened to this song today, and I think, like, it's just such a prescient thing. It always makes me smile when I hear it, that line, and it's just it's an identity thing. And
that's cool.
I don't know. It's just one of the things that makes us, special,
Oh man, totally.
And it just reminds me of all those times. You visualize them in your mind. I think about and sitting around campfires playing guitar until the sun came up, with everybody who was there, and all the things that happened and all the things that were said, and they stick with you. And that's a gift.
I'm such a fan of those moments. Like, I know I should go to bed, or I know I shouldn't go to the next bar, or like, I know I probably should just go home. But like, no, like, well, I guess maybe there's a bit of FOMO. We call that fear of missing out, Brent, in the millennial speak.
FOMO didn't exist back then.
Yeah, right. You. Yeah. So, well, I just didn't know if the acronym
I
made it.
I happen to know it. Yeah.
You did? Okay, awesome. I just wanted to make sure for you and
you didn't know if the acronym made it all the way out here. So like, look, 50 plus land.
Well, I just thought, anyways, so, I guess you could call it that, but yeah, I was always like, no, like, I want to be part, like, what's going to happen? Like, what am I going to learn? Like, that's really what it was for me. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to miss out on what happens. It was like, what am I going to learn from going to this next spot, or like to go to this next spot, or go hang out with them, or go and like, that's always what it is for me. Like, what am I going to walk away with?
But what are you going to experience that you'll be able to hang on to in terms of memories? Because for me, those times are very important. I think about those times. I think about very specific times that the song reminds me of when I think, sunrise, but wiser for the time. Yeah. And I think about the and I'm fortunate to have those. Some people, maybe didn't have those times. Yeah. But yeah, it's experiences.
Totally it is. Yeah, that was it, man. When I moved into the city, and it was all about that. It's all about being up, staying up, not sleeping, staying up, sleeping a little bit later, and then kind of doing the same thing all over again. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things I don't remember, but what I do remember, it was intentional. So I was intentionally putting myself in new environments. So. Okay, here we go.
So, Gone, first song.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, honestly, you're gonna hate me. I couldn't wait until Chris Robinson stopped screaming at me through these songs. Like,
through the whole record?
Almost, basically. This whole record felt so much like he was just yelling at me, and everything just felt so, So Gone, cool, starts out great, and then it's like there's nothing for me to really like hang on to musically or lyrically with actually a lot of these songs. I feel like these guys tried to pack so much music and lyrics, like the way that he sings and how he sings. I just feel like he's just trying to like sing all the time, and I was like, I'm feeling like I was starting to feel like, I don't know, I guess claustrophobic, or I just started to feel like anxious, because I couldn't actually, he wouldn't slow down for me to like really hang on to the song. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So, yeah.
You know, interesting in the context that I don't know if you know the backstory behind this record. It was kind of almost a redo or a byproduct of an earlier recording session that the Crows attempted. This is their third record, by the way, that they called Tall. There's a number of recording sessions that didn't go anywhere. They did material. The spirit wasn't there. The vibe wasn't there. Everyone hated it, and they just abandoned it. But the problem, apparently, was that Chris Robinson wanted to produce the record, and he wanted to get away from the Crows sound, that kind of classic Faces guitar vocal sound, right? He wanted to add like horns and vocal harmony and change the Crows sound, but too drastically. And the other guys were like, this is not we're not into it. And so they just abandoned everything, went on the road, and came back and recorded what we now know as Amorica, after kind of his brother, the guitar player, Rich, kind of talked him out of such a drastic departure from the Black Crowes sound. So what you're hearing, and what I was saying earlier, it's still the Crows, but it's a little bit different. So it was almost like a compromise.
Yeah, got it. I mean, I can appreciate the music. I just felt like when it got started, like the beginning of Gone is really cool. Cowbell, like everything sort of getting like leading into the song, like really neat. I got excited as it started, and then everything started in the song, and it just felt like just so jam packed with like a lot of sound. A lot of like, honestly, like I feel so bad to say this because like it's such a big album for you, but it's like it just felt like noise. Like it just started to feel like everything was just hit him with the noise. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The first two songs are not my favorite. They're probably my least favorite on the album, actually. Gone and A Conspiracy.
And a Conspiracy, so, I have the exact same thoughts. It's all just kind of thrown at you, and like again, Chris just keeps he just feels like he's just yelling at me, and I'm like, I don't know what to what do you want me to do? Yeah.
Well, I think at this time they were going through a lot of stuff too, so they were a very, very big band at this time, and Chris Robinson was getting into the drugs apparently, and there were ego clashes quite a lot. There were Chris Robinson, I don't know if you know anything about the album cover. The album cover, and this is not something that millennials focus on terribly, but album covers when I was a kid were everything, right? So you went to the record store and you looked and you saw that was like your first kind of, introduction to the record was what the cover offered you. And so do you know what the cover is even?
Well, yeah, it's like a hamburger bun, or is it 2 hot dogs and a thong? Is that what it is? Yeah, I'm just messing with you.
What are you talking about? Oh, it is a thong, but it is. It was taken from the cover of a Hustler magazine, so it's a woman, and it's her pelvic region.
Yeah,
it's just the triangle of her bikini is an American flag. From the front, but you can see pubic hair along the top. Yeah. This is obviously not, going to fly in the 90s with retailers, like major retailers like Kmart and Walmart and Best Buy. And so the rest of the band said to Chris, you can't do this. And he said, sure, I can. And again, that ego started coming up. And he pushed for it. And they even had a meeting, I think, with an executive at Best Buy. And they raised their concerns, and Robinson just fucking lost it and started screaming at the guy. And that deal was dead. And so I actually talked to Steve Gorman about this on the podcast on No Sleep Till Sudbury. And he said that he was pissed because he was excited about this record getting out there because he recognized the potential of the Black Crowes in general, but also of this album. And he felt almost like Chris kind of sabotaged the band's chances to take that next step up, because this album was poised to do that for them. And as a result, Kmart banned the record. Best Buy banned the record. Walmart banned the record. And so finally, the record company conceded by altering the cover, including the triangle, but not showing the woman's body or the pubic hair anymore. It was just a black background with that kind of bikini triangle.
Interesting.
Flag. Yeah.
It seems so ridiculous because of how many other kinds of album covers in the 70s came out no problem. Like with like
naked women.
Naked
right?
women. Right? Yeah.
Like
Don't tell me
Holy, for example.
Well, there's that too. And like, those are kids. Like
naked kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, that was the case. And so there was a lot of bad blood in the band around that time after that. And I think there was a hiatus even. Like it was just, that was kind of the beginning of the end for Steve Gorman.
Well, yeah, Gone in a Conspiracy weren't, so I guess we feel the same. Well, maybe not you as you know,
vehemently
as I, but I wasn't a good start after it got into Gone, and then a Conspiracy followed that, and I was like, oh man. And then I kind of was like, it was bad because then I was kind of had like my backup for the rest of the album. It's kind of like,
oh no,
what's gonna happen here? So, but then High Head Blues kicked in, and that was cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's one of my favorite tunes from the record.
Nice.
It's got that like Lowrider. Do you know the song Lowrider?
Oh yeah.
It's got It's got that kind of Latino vibe to it, right? Mm-hmm. Like I think it's got Latino percussion in it, and it's like a rhythm, and it's just like funky.
Totally.
It's awesome.
I agree.
I love that song.
Yeah. No, really good song. Once again, like I'm a fan of the instrumental. Then like Chris he's kind of annoyed me by this point, and like I don't really want to listen to him anymore. Because I don't know what's going to come out. The vocals are much nicer on this one, but I'm kind of like, at this point, I'm like, every little thing that he might do, I'm kind of like, do I want to change this? Because like I don't know where he's going to go with it. So, but but otherwise, good tune, good tune.
Cursed Diamond is next, I think.
Yeah, where was I at by this time? Yeah.
So this is nice because it's kind of like it starts off slow and then it builds a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a good tune.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll pass on that one. Nonfiction, man. There's one for you.
Tell me about it. Talk to me.
I like that one. It's broad, right? It's got basically what nonfiction is. It's a folk song with cool elements added to it. Like it's got like a plinky piano. If you listen in the back in the mix, you can hear that. It's got like very prominent bass, which is weird for a folk song. It's got like, little guitar licks played. And again, kind of, further back in the mix. It's awesome. It's great. Yeah. It's a demonstration for me of growth of a band that I thought was really cool. And it was almost like I was cheering for them. I wanted them to kind of make these progressions. And they did. This is a very colorful record for me.
Yeah. I definitely appreciate the diversity in sound and what they were exploring, and how they were exploring it. Because I think you're right. I think there's a lot of growth, especially from Shake Your Moneymaker. I didn't listen. It was the second album, but it was, it's nice to sort of hear these more constant diversions, I guess, or sort of like explorations into some of these different songs. And I think they're really good at writing this kind of music, slower rock music. Like this was obviously She Talks to Angels, but like this song and then Descending are really nice tunes.
One of the things that stands out for me with Nonfiction is the very end of the song, how it ends. It's one of those things that you probably wouldn't pick up on until you heard the song like maybe 8 or 9 times, but it's just got this really beautiful ending, and it ends perfectly.
Nice.
And you'll know what I mean if you go back and listen to it. It's just it just kind of leaves you in the right place.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's the piano in it, man. The piano is great in this tune.
It's a masterful piece of songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's nondescript. It's song number 4, I think, on the record. And it's not a single, you know, It's just one of those gems that you are so thankful that you found, you know. That's how I feel about this. Next, She Gave Good Sunflower.
What does that mean?
What a tune, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. What does that mean?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's like
Chris
kind of a
Robinson.
sexual connotation. Okay, got it. Yeah.
It's. I remember the first time I heard this, I was in my dorm room at university, and I was like, "This album is so fucking great."
Nice.
So cool. People try and pull shit like this off all the time, and they just don't. They don't get away with it. But the Crows do.
I would say actually, it's weird. Like I like guitar solos. I wasn't a big fan of the guitar solo in this song. I feel like it's long, but I feel like Rich is maybe I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it. I don't know. There's something about the solo where I'm like, I like solos. I don't like this. I don't like how it's like trying to fit in here, and I feel like he's just he was just going a little too nuts. And I feel like he did that a few times on this album, whereas like the solos just went a little too wild. They just went a little too left field, and it didn't really. Yeah, weird. I know, weird. Again, I just feel like maybe I was like, it's like put off by like the pots and pans I thought were like going on around me. So that's all. It's just yeah. And then P25 London.
Oh yeah, I like this one too.
Do you?
This is a little bit more of a reach for people because I'm thinking about the beginning, and it's kind of almost a caricature, right? Right? Yeah, it's a reach, but it kind of fits on the record for me. You know who hated this song was Steve Gorman. He didn't want it on the album. Yeah. Apparently, this song is about grunge and the uprising of grunge, because in 1994, obviously, that was happening, and it kind of pushed, the Black Crows and bands of their ilk aside, and Chris Robinson did not care much for that. And apparently, the line that goes "Empty bottle saviors they crawl" is about Eddie Vedder. Because Chris Robinson said these guys are all posers and they pretend to drink booze straight out of the bottle, but the bottle's empty or the bottle contains pop or water or whatever. And that line was like a, kind of a shot or a dig at Eddie Vedder, apparently. Yeah.
Ballad and urgency.
What do you think? I like it. No? Is it a skipper?
Okay. I don't know. There's a few skippers on here. There's a few skippers on this album. I liked it because it's like finally, again, this nonfiction descending kind of slowed things down and like allowed me to sort of like, I don't know, try and get to know the Black Crows a bit more.
Wiser Time.
See, I liked it, but like, isn't this like a single from the album? Isn't this one of the?
No, there was no real singles from the record.
No,
I don't think.
Okay.
No.
I did like Wiser
Maybe
Time.
A Conspiracy was. I think they did a video for a Conspiracy.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I like Wiser Time because it's kind of got like.
It's like an alt rock kind of country rock.
I was gonna say
right?
it's like a country rock type vibe, which I liked.
Pedal steel.
Yeah.
If you notice. At the end of every measure, there's a double tap on the cowbell. So the beat is like this weird kind of shuffle beat. And then he goes on the cowbell, like tick, tick. And it's funny because it gets your attention when you first hear it and you think like, what is he doing? It's not really necessary, but it's kind of cool. And then you keep listening for it and you keep hearing it. Tick, 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 or like right at the end of the measure every time. And so apparently, and when Gorman was on the show, I asked him, because I've always been fascinated by that. I love these things, and I want to find out why, because it doesn't have to be there, right? So I said, how did that come about? And he said, I was in the studio, I got there first, and I was fooling around, and I was just being really stupid, playing this like goofy, weird beat that sounded like Devo, just to warm up and fool around, right? And Chris Robinson walked in the room, and I stopped, and he said, "No, keep going, but play it slower, slow it down a little bit." And so he slowed it down, and Robinson said, "I have this song called Wiser Time, and I think that's a perfect kind of shuffle beat for it." And they made a couple of adjustments, and he kept that tap in at the end because Robinson wanted to keep it.
Downtown Money Waster.
See, this is a funny one.
All right, big old jangly tune.
So, what did you think of this song?
Yeah, it's kind of like ragtimey. You know, it's cool. Like, yeah, it's got the slide, right? It's the slide that kind of comes in as well, right? It's
Yep.
Yeah. I liked it. Okay. Yeah, for sure.
So, I'd always kind of been uncertain about this song because I was ambivalent. There was aspects of it that I really liked. I liked the ragtime kind of purity of it, and it was funky and cool. But what I didn't like was that it sounded like it was recorded at 4 a.m. by a bunch of drunks who couldn't really kind of get it right? It was very sloppy. So if you listen to the main lines, Robinson kind of sings outside that, and he's not lined up with them. He's kind of like off, and he falls behind, and they catches up. And it just sounds like kind of a throwaway track, right? Like they just were fucking around at like, you know, and somebody just kind of hit the record button, which typically I like. But my problem with it was that it was almost like it wasn't up to snuff, and they put it on anyway, and they thought like, hey, this is cool, right? So again, going back to Steve Gorman, I asked him about that, and he said he didn't even know about the song being on the record until after it was done, after a couple of members left. Like they had recorded the album, and then Robinson hung back, and I think it was him and I don't know, there's like 2 other guys, and they did it. And it was just like this goofy thing that they did late at night, and they were, you know, having chemical adventures of some sort.
Because there's no drums on the song, is there?
No, I don't think this is some kind of percussion.
Right.
But there are no drums. Gorman wasn't in the studio for this. So he heard it, and he said, yeah, okay, well, this is kind of like a Japanese B-side, right? That's what he said. So just use it as a B-side for like Japan release. And Robinson said, no, it's going on the record. And he was like, why? It's just not up to speed, right?
Wow.
It's not. And he said, yeah, we're going to put it on. And it was his decision, and they put it on. And that's what I mean about the kind of, you know, second last track on the record, right? It was just a filler. It was an add-on.
Interesting.
However, now, if you listen to, I've always loved something about it. I just wish they'd cleaned it up a little bit and kind of like lined it up, and because it's got that great funky vibe. Years and years and years later, they recorded an album called Ology. And what they did was they went through all the Crows, or a select number of Crows tunes, and redid them in different ways. So they did like, you know, Jealous Again acoustically and that sort of thing. And they went through this tune, cleaned it up, and added things like, it was like a bluegrass feel. Like they added like banjos and fiddles. And it sounds weird, but it works. Like it's really, really cool. Nice. It's really cool. Yeah. So if you like this version, check that one out. It's on Ology. Awesome. That's the one that I put on my playlist, not this one.
Not that one, eh? Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll have to go check the new version. Descending. Like this is a tune. Love this tune.
Talk about the album closing piano ballad, right? And we talked about this with Aerosmith. Think about Aerosmith. This is how you do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're okay with this one.
Oh yeah. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
So good, man.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. It's good, man. And like, again, for me on an album like this where not a whole lot stood out to me, like what happened actually was I played this album on shuffle. I didn't realize it. I actually put it on in my car.
Say, yeah.
Well, no. Just briefly. I put it on and I had the little random button. It was selected in the car, and I was like,
but you didn't know?
I didn't know. So it actually played. It played Gone, and it played a Conspiracy. So it played 1 and 2 back to back, and then Descending came on.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow.
Because you were saying earlier, like I heard Descending and it gave me a little bit of time to breathe or something. And I was like, why? That's the last song on the record. But that makes sense now because you actually thought it was the third song on the record.
Well, at the time, yeah. But then I also, it felt weird. It felt weird. I was like, there's no way this song could be number 3. So I did check that, and then it's the last song, and I was like, okay.
How perceptive are you? Isn't that cool?
Right? Yeah. See,
you picked up on that.
I did actually, and I actually can't. I don't think I contributed anything
seriously, good for you.
Than do this show. But yeah. So then I was, but you know what it did do? It made me realize that there was more to this album. So I was like, yes, my back was up a bit. I didn't know what Chris was going to give me vocally throughout the rest of the album, but I knew Descending. I knew I was going to get from Descending. Right. So I was kind of like holding out hope that there'd be more something like that on the album before I got there again. So anyways, well, I mean, yeah, it was okay. So,
all right. See, now I'm interested in you hearing the second album.
So what do you think? What was the alternative? What were we going to go to if not the second album?
I didn't have a specific album in mind. I was going to propose it later on.
Sorry, what? What were you thinking we were going to...
This is me, and this is you. I was going to suggest an album later on. What?
No. No, what do you mean you're going to suggest what album later on? Like you were going to suggest an album like after we listen to the second one or now?
No, like this week.
Yeah.
Like between now and next Thursday.
Oh, so like not tonight.
Yeah, do you understand now?
Well, yeah. Well, sometimes it's good to let our viewers know what I'm going to listen to so they can go listen to it as well. You fucking prick.
See, sometimes it helps when you use puppets.
Right. I'm a visual person. I need to see what's happening. Yeah. Let's just do Crows too.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Done.
Let's do it. We'll do this. We'll do the second Crows album.
Perfect. Done.
All right, man.
All right.
Sick.
Good night, Alex.
Good night, Brent. Good night.